Making videos takes time, but this video is gonna save you a whole bunch of it so you can spend more time doing what you want. This is my 2024 edition YouTube studio setup on wheels, baby. So let's roll through every single piece of gear on this bad boy. Links in description, let's go. The foundation of this entire rig is the impact rolling stand. I've had this stand for years and it's still holding up. It's a little beat up, but overall this thing is still working perfectly fine. And for $150, you really can't beat it. It's height adjustable, so you can get the camera at the right level, and it's not just this double chin selfie shot that we're all trying to avoid. It can hold plenty of weight, but you definitely want to use a sandbag on the base to avoid any crashes. And if you haven't tried a setup on wheels, it's an absolute game changer. You can change your background. Just scoot it over like this. You can change your background in just a couple seconds. Alexa, make Biggie lamp blue. Oh, that's nice. So at the top of the stand is an impact grip head with a 20-inch grip extension arm to mount our light. There are longer extension arms if you need them, if you have like a bigger light or something, but with a small light, 20 inches is fine. So for this setup, I'm rocking a brand new light because I wanted something simple, small, but still really high quality light output. This is the SmallRig RC100B. It's a 100-watt light that's bicolor from 2700 to 6500 Kelvin. I just keep it at 5600 because I'm an absolute dog like that. The mini softbox that it comes with is perfect for a build like this, and it has 2 stages of diffusion for a super soft look. And that's why I like this softbox over other options, because it just looks softer when it's really close to my face. And it also comes with a grid if you want to go that route and have very directional light that isn't spilling everywhere else in your room. I'm not using the grid because I like how it looks right now, but there is one if you need it. Overall, I think smaller softboxes or lanterns are a solid option so you don't add too much weight and size to this setup. The whole goal is to be fast and mobile, and a huge dome job would just slow us down, honestly. You can power this light in a variety of different ways. You got USB-C power delivery, plug it into the wall. You can use Sony style NPFs, but my favorite is V-mount. And I'm using the SmallRig Caleb Pike battery. It's large, has tons of output, lots of different ports so I can power multiple things on this stand. But let's move from lights into camera. You already know, I'm using my beloved Sony FX30. I absolutely love this camera. It's just convenient, affordable compared to other options, amazing autofocus, battery life is great. This is a Super 35 camera, which some people see as a downside versus full frame, but for me, it means that I get smaller and cheaper lenses. It shoots better photos than the FX3 or A7S III, and it works with the Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens, which is a perfect focal length for talking headshots like this, because it's not too wide and warpy, but it's also not too punched in. And if I do want to zoom in a little bit, because this camera has a higher megapixel count, it has clear image zoom like this, so you get like a little digital zoom that actually doesn't really reduce quality. It's like some Sony magic going on. So if you need to zoom in, there's clear image zoom. This next part of the video is tough for me to talk about because I'm kind of being a hypocrite. I purchased another Elgato product.
And I absolutely don't recommend Elgato products. I just threw it across the room because I'm never going to use it again.
And I still stand by the fact that most of their stuff sucks and their software is borderline buggier than the Amazon rainforest, but this teleprompter is simply just the best option for creators so far. The prompter slides onto your lens with a front ring adapter that comes with the prompter. Then you plug in your computer to it, paste your script or notes into the Elgato camera app, and just start ripping through your video super fast. It's genuinely saving me so much time recording because I don't have to look at my notes back and forth. I used to just hold my phone like down here, memorize a chunk, and then like deliver it to camera and do that back and forth. Now I just have my notes right in front of me. So I can still riff on bullet points if I want, or I can just write a word for word script and it looks like I'm looking right at you guys. Here's a couple quick tips when you're using the prompter so you get the most out of it. Number 1 is to keep the brightness of the prompter as low as you possibly can so that there's no weird reflections on your screen and on your footage. I'll show you what I mean. Right now my brightness is at 40%, but if I jack this up, you can start to see a little haze in the middle of my screen just from the reflection on the prompter itself. So at like 40%, it's basically unnoticeable, which is still plenty bright to read. Also, you want to keep your text as small as possible so that it doesn't look like you're reading left to right. If you keep it small and centered, you're still looking at the middle of your camera lens and it looks more natural. Other than that, the prompter is a cheap piece of plastic that drastically improved my workflow, so I can't say that I hate it. So that's 1 point Elgato. I'll give you that. Now on to the monitor that I'm using to see my image, because my little camera screen is kind of hiding behind my prompter. So off to my left is the Atomos Ninja 5. Now, you do not have to use a Ninja 5. You can use whatever HDMI compatible monitor you have access to, but it is really nice to have a reference shot that's bigger than your tiny camera screen, so you can actually see what's going on around you. You can light properly and just get it looking how you want it. Now, what's cool about the Ninja specifically is because I have HDMI going into it, I can record a backup safety file in case something were to happen with my SD card or whatever. I can record in ProRes on the Ninja, get even more quality out of it if I want to, but honestly, I just record straight into my camera, the SD card, and it looks great. Powering the Atomos Ninja 5 is a small rig NPF style battery. I really like their batteries overall. We've already talked about it, but basically they just have really big amounts of charge, and there's a screen on the back that shows you your percentage remaining. So it's just convenient. If you are gonna use an Atomos or an external recorder, make sure you get an HDMI cable that's plenty fast. I would recommend at least 4K 60 Hertz compatible. That way you're not having any weird frame drops on your recording. You know what they say, kids, lights, camera, audio. So on my rolling stand, I have this weird thing called an impact end jaw vice grip. And on the end of that is a grip head that's holding a Rode boom arm. It sounds complicated, but I'll have links below. It's actually not bad. And at the end of the Rode boom arm is this beautiful microphone creeping into frame. It's the Rode Procaster, which is a dynamic podcast mic, which you wouldn't think would work for a setup like this, but it's actually so close to my mouth. It's probably about like less than 12 inches away from my mouth that it still picks me up plenty fine. And part of that is because of the audio recorder that I'm using. The microphone is running into the brand new Rodecaster Video, which is the most overkill and kind of dumb part of my build. There are plenty of other options out there that make way more sense than what I'm using. Like you could use a Zoom recorder that has XLR compatibility, or you could use the Sound Devices MixPre 3. It's kind of expensive, but it's probably one of the best recorders. No, it is the best recorder I've ever owned, and I honestly regret selling mine. One thing I'd like to experiment with is somehow running my audio out of this Rodecaster Video directly into camera, but at the same time, I kind of like recording my audio separately in case something did go wrong with the audio from the camera or something like that. Having them separate and syncing them doesn't take too much extra time, but it is something to consider if you want the most amount of time saved possible, finding a way to sync your audio and your video while you're recording. And you could do that with wireless lavs or just using a vlog mic or a shotgun mic on top of your camera. There's a lot of different options out there, but this is what I had available to me. So it's weird, but I think you get the point. You can kind of modularly put whatever you want into this setup. You know what I mean? But that's my setup. Thank you, Small Rig, for sponsoring this video. Text me when you get home so I know you're safe. Watch out for deer because they're looking real horny this time of year. And yeah, you guys are loved. See you in the next one.